Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Scott Grossberg, author of The Most Magical Secret, 4 Weeks to an Ecstatic Life. And I am really excited to be sharing today with you. We have a really fascinating subject to discuss. And it's built around the question, what if you stopped procrastinating and started actually doing what you know needs to be done so that you can be sustainably and consistently happy and successful? You know, this is a fascinating subject because most of us are sabotaging our own magic. Most of us are doing those things that we know we shouldn't do and which stand in the way of us actually getting done those things that we've set up as priorities for ourselves. And I think that it really all comes down to we don't play enough. We don't understand that we have an obligation to play. And I think that we treat our goals, our dreams, our desires, our wants, and even our wishes as work. And what do? You want to play, and so you put off work. And it's an interesting phenomenon when you realize that we all know what it is that we want. We want to lose weight. We want to make more money. We want to spend more time with family and friends, whatever it is. You want to write another book. You want to write your first book. Whatever it is that you happen to want to do, we all know what it is we want. And in fact, we actually all know what it is that we want to do to make those things happen. And then we procrastinate. And then we don't do anything at all. And we wind up looking back and saying, gosh, if I'd only done this, where did the time go? Whatever it is. So there's a chapter in the book. It's chapter 15. It starts at page 112. And it's entitled, Treat Your Magic Like a Lover. And I've got an opening quote in here from the mighty Earl Nightingale. It goes like this: a great attitude does much more than turn on the lights in our worlds. It seems to magically connect us to all sorts of serendipitous opportunities that were somehow absent before the change. And that's really what today is about. It's about committing yourself to having a great attitude, not just about everything, but a great attitude that's focused on those things that you want to achieve, you want as outcomes, you want to manifest. All too often, we set a goal and then we come up with all these fantastic ways not to make them happen. We get in our own way. And I don't think it's because we don't have our priorities straight. We do. You wouldn't have the goal to begin with. This isn't a matter of me coming up with these artificial exercises like, imagine that you've been told that you only have one day to live. What would you want to achieve? This isn't anything like that. This is about you figuring out why you're postponing your success and happiness. You know what it is that you want. And I really think it comes down to you just aren't assigning enough pleasure and play to those things that you want. So for example, if you want to write your first book, maybe write an essay, maybe write a blog article, you might want to create that, and then you let social media get in the way, or you make phone calls, or you go to the movies, or you read a different book that somebody else has written, not you. Any one of those things you let get in the way, and they're very unempowering choices, and you're losing fantastic opportunities by choosing those things that you think are more pleasurable over the things that you think are less pleasurable. This isn't pain versus pleasure. This is what I think we all do, and that's, I think it's more pleasurable to go hop onto social media and interact with people than it is to sit down and actually write for 15 minutes. Ask yourself what it is that you're doing like that. Everybody knows what they need to do to lose weight, for example. How many times are you sabotaging that by choosing something you believe is more pleasurable? So one of the things that I liken this to is watching kids when they cram before an exam. They know what the outcome is. They know what they have to study. They know what they have to do to get the right answers. And so they choose all of these more pleasurable things along the way before the exam. Then the night before the exam, they cram. and they cram, and they stay up all night. They drink these energy drinks. They don't get any sleep. It's painful not only to watch. If you ask them, they're not going to tell you they had any fun doing it. Now, they might pass the test. They might actually get an outcome that they desired. But a lifestyle of magic is not just about getting an outcome. A lifestyle of magic is about creating a sustainable and consistent path along the way. It's as much the journey as it is the manifestations that we want. And so I want you to stop cramming through life. I want to say this again. Stop cramming your way through life. You know what you need to do. And so you're not waiting for any deadlines here. I'm not putting a deadline on you to achieve one thing or another. I do want you to reassign what you find to be more pleasurable versus less pleasurable, because otherwise you're just going to be completely counterproductive. Let me put it another way for you. One of my earliest memories, if you'll permit me to share it with you here, one of my earliest memories has always been that I'm running out of time. And I remember telling a very wise lady this once. I said, I'm just running out of time. And she stopped me. And after a brief pause, she looked at me and she said, Scott, you are, and you will. That really, really hit home with me. Think about it. I am running out of time, and I will run out of time. And that just bolstered me even more to realize I want to do the things that are pleasurable, that make me happy, that make me more successful, that give me a fulfilled, although restlessly fulfilled, life. And I want the same things for you. And so one of the things that I'm asking you to do at this point is start asking yourself, use the exercises in this book, and start asking yourself, of all the goals that I'm finding for myself from reading the various chapters and answering the 28 questions, how can I make that play? How can I make my path of magic the most pleasurable possible? So again, going back to our example, if you wanted to write and you can't bring yourself to sit down and write for 15 minutes, that's because you're saying in your head there's something more pleasurable to do. I want you to turn that around and start looking at the writing as the fun, the writing as the play, and the process as the fun and the play. That also means waking up every morning and saying to yourself, what am I going to create today? And then putting all of your attitude and intention and attention into that creation. And when we start putting more pleasure and happiness as an assigned label on these things that we want to achieve, I think you're going to find that you're less counterproductive and less unproductive than you've ever been before. So I want you to stop copying your failure, your habit of failure. We all have it. That's what I wrote about. And I want you to start having fun more day. I want you to take your primary goals and I want you to commit to me. I want you, when you turn off this video, I want you to promise me that you're going to take each one of those primary goals, and after it, I want you to write down the pleasure that achieving that is going to bring, and I want you to also write down the pleasure on the way to getting that outcome will be for you. What is the happiness that the journey brings for you? Because you need that balance as well. I want you to do one last thing for me. Will you promise me that after you've done this little exercise, after you've assigned pleasure to your outcomes and assigned pleasure to your goals and assigned pleasure to your happiness and assigned pleasure to your success, and you've also assigned pleasure to the process of getting those things, that you'll post online in our private group what it is you're doing to make yourself happier and more successful so that we can cheer you on? Will you do that for me? Now, go out, make it a magical day.